Your Kind of News, tonight at 11.
Some people just love to collect things. That's the way it was with North Carolina farmer Skip Parker. For 23 years, he searched the countryside for relics of the region's past and created his own museum. Judith Ferruti shows you the treasures of Skip Parker. Also tonight, Jane Gardner reports on Vetco's Time of Use program, the experiment where utility customers are charged not just for how much electricity they use, but also when they use it. Some people say it's a way to save money. Others say they're washing their clothes in the middle of the night and still paying more for electricity. And Mark Kraft looks at what concerned citizens have been able to accomplish in building a new Newport News. Good evening, I'm John Miller. We'll take a look at an extraordinary collection in a moment.
And in the Bible it says, God made man in his own image. He made women after, from a rib, a cheaper cut. Piece by piece, you eat my heart out. I don't care.
Weekdays at 5 on 13.
Sunday night on Theater 13.
Send me that $50. Will someone swear she's a live woman?
I'll say she is, Your Honor. But you can't do that, Your Honor. If she's legally alive, I'm guilty of bigamy.
Incredible circumstances create a merry marital mix-up in Theater 13's comedy My Favorite Wife, starring Cary Grant, Sunday night after the late weekend news, here on TV 13.
For 23 years, a North Carolina farmer built an extraordinary collection of relics from his region's past. Thousands of antiques crammed to the rafters of a weather-worn country store. It was a service he provided free of charge in honor of his rural heritage. Just before the collection was sold and divided, Judith Ferruti and Pete Roberts visited the crossroad town of Manola for this exclusive look at the treasures of Skip Parker.
You know, sometimes treasures come in unusual packages. It's all in how you look at things. Some folks walking up to this building would see a shack, dried by the decades to a tinderbox. Others would see a gold mine. Step inside and it's a little overwhelming. 2 stories of antiques. Shelf after shelf of glass, metal, wood, and stone. Crafted in another age. $5 and a tug of the lever and the Nickelodeon will tell you you're in the South. A crossroads called Manola, North Carolina. People here called it Dixie, back when these relics were new.
There are thousands of items in this store from North Carolina's rural past. For decades, people have brought their friends and relatives from 4 counties around Manola to show their friends the marvels of one man's collection.
The music box is just one of Skip Parker's finds. A bashful 50-year-old farmer, he seems to personify the southern gentle man.
Well, I've always loved history and that kind of thing, and I just like to collect artifacts and odd things and things of that nature.
Parker and his friends, among them former State Senator William Burgwin, have been uncovering odd things for 23 years to decorate the counters. Parker's father built the country store in 1918. Its pot-belly stove was like the center of a village square, a place for the rural community to smoke and swap stories. Well, eventually the store closed, only to be revived for a special occasion. A celebration that Bill Burgwin recalls fell flat.
Well, the bicentennial of Hartford County did not mature as we hoped it would. But this store at its beginning in 1958. Since that time, Skip Parker has dedicated his life almost to collecting artifacts and things of interest in the Roanoke Chowan section and placed them here in this store.
The gleaming cash register is just for show. Parker never charged admission to his homespun museum. Part of his pleasure in it came from giving tours to the backroads wanderers who happened onto the place. And part of the fun came from gathering it all.
One of the greatest pleasures is going out over the country and countryside and meeting people and finding something and being able to secure it, of course, and put it in here. It's just...
Among his finds, a surveyor's compass from the 1740s, like the one used by George Washington. And a bleeder, a medical instrument placed against the wrist to bleed people as a cure, when blades were sharp, but medical reasoning wasn't. From rusting farm implements silhouetted against the sooty panes to neatly laid out Indian arrowheads, each piece hints at past labor, forgotten lives.
They're not foreign-made things like the finest Chippendale furniture or Queen Anne. It's things that the common man used. And that's what all of our people were. We were hard-working, farming people, peace-loving people. And this really carries the history of this section back. It preserves the heritage of our people.
Well, to preserve the accumulation for the future, Skip Parker decided to sell the whole kit and caboodle to a historical society in Murfreesboro. Soon after this was filmed, the store was stripped of its relics. Historian Bob Hill negotiated the sale so more people could enjoy what Parker amassed.
It would be an educational type museum in which school children and as well as the regular tourists can come in and see, and it will be maintained in regular hours, and we'll have people there manning this at all times.
So the collection of Skip Parker, like the generations it represented, has vanished from Manola. The door has been closed for good. Parker can always ride up to the Murfreesboro Historic District to see his treasures, but he doesn't have to. Memories are treasures, too.
It's quitting time, and I'm heading home to Billy. She's an armful of huck, better watch that, makes gravy like ambrosia lady. And she takes care of me, makes my life sweet and easy. One good woman doing the job of two. Come payday, I take care of Millie, buying U.S. savings bonds. We don't miss it when they take it that way. I bring home a big chunk of my pay. But that little bit that I leave growing is getting right. Getting ready to put the kids through the college thing, or take me and Millie. Fine, they make life sweet and easy. And every little dollar does a job of two, taking care of the country. And my woman, too. Help yourself and your country by U.S. savings bonds. Look out, Millie. When the time comes, you're going to be amazed.
Since 1977, VEPCO has been conducting an experiment. It's called Time of Use, where customers are billed on when they use electricity. It's supposed to conserve energy and save the consumer money, and apparently it's working. Tonight we take another look at Jane Gardner's report on an experiment that may be expanded to include many more VEPCO customers. And some of the experiment's participants warn that it could mean you'll be doing midnight laundry.
This is Tidewater's biggest user of electricity, the Naval Operations Base in Norfolk. Monthly VEPCO bill, 40,000 megawatt hours.
That is 40 million kilowatt hours. Each time a ship plugs into the base power lines, it adds the equivalent of a small city to VEPCO's customer load. A city that needs huge amounts of electricity 24 hours a day. That makes NOB an unusual major industrial user. Most industries, like Asheville Mica in Newport News, run in the daytime, using electricity to power the machines that manufacture, in this case, mica insulators for other electronics firms. Whatever the product, industrial electric use is something VEPCO's planners know will be there every day. During the day, VEPCO generates lots of electricity to meet that need, using imported oil as well as less expensive coal and nuclear power plants. Residential electric use is more variable, depending on whether people are home in the daytime, whether it's hot enough for air conditioning, and so on.
If we build or generate electricity during the hottest afternoon of summertime, we're having to use imported fuel oil. Those kilowatt hours to run an electric appliance air conditioning, as an example, cost twice as much as the same kilowatt hour that we generate in the middle of the night through one of our nuclear stations. So if we can have our customers help us by controlling when they use electricity, then it benefits all of us.
One way Division Marketing Manager Guy Bishop wants VEPCO customers to help is through the time of usage program.
We're under a State Corporation Commission order that goes back to June of 1977. To carry out the program which we are carrying out. The Commission, in ordering us to carry out this experiment, did it in an effort to try to control the increases in electric bills. Also, it had the thought, and we think correctly so, that it would be an encouragement for people to conserve natural resources.
The incentive is that at night, when demand is much lower, it's cheaper for time-of-use customers to do their housework. Time-of-use customers like the Gene Barker family in Norfolk. They aren't doing the housework.
Is ABC News Nightline. Reporting from Washington, Ted Koppel.
Shirley Barker says it just isn't worth the effort.
I've tried staying on the program to a degree. I could not stay on it 100%, but I've tried working on it to a degree. Doing watch at night and early in the morning. And I have found that the first bills I got were a little bit lower. But then I did not receive a comparison bill every month like they had said that I would. And then when I did receive a comparison bill, it was higher. So I say, why bother to do all that work late at night, early in the morning, rushing time to get through, and have my bill higher?
Mrs. Barker's bill isn't actually higher. She pays the regular electric rate, but has a special time-of-use meter. VEPCO installed it to show her how much money she saved if the Barkers went on the time-of-usage program.
They said that we would probably show a 30% difference in the bill. Well, I can't see. We've never had a 30% difference in any of the bills. They said we would receive a bill once a month along with the regular VEPCO bill. We have not. In fact, I haven't received a comparison bill in the last 2 or 3 months.
Mrs. Barker figures the meter reader can't get past her dog. She doesn't think much of the power company anyway.
I guess if I don't participate, that person's not going to see me, so I said, yes, we'll participate.
Not a very enthusiastic beginning. And because time of use is complicated, some willingness is required for you to save any money at all. You have to keep track of what time it is and how many appliances you're using at once. And in the summertime, the off-peak or cheaper hours change from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. to 10 a.m. And VEPCO apparently has had trouble communicating all this complexity to the program's participants.
Do you remember how you found out that the time of use hours had changed from 9 to 9 to 10 to 10?
How did I find out? I sure did. You told me.
We didn't have to tell the people who live here anything about the program. In fact, Bill Chapin has told VEPCO a few things about it. Chapin, unlike the Barkers, volunteered for time of use. Why?
To save money, I thought.
And what did you find?
I found when I started on the program,
I went down and I talked to an engineer at VEPCO to make sure that I wasn't, that I had a good grip or an understanding of what was going to happen with this sophisticated meter, and that by reprogramming our lives so that we didn't do much during the 12-hour peak of the day, and particularly for the heating, which is all electric heat, I could save money.
Chapin's records show he saved around $270 the first year.
You've kept pretty meticulous records, haven't you?
Yeah. I've read the meter for months at times, just morning and night, twice a day. The meter splits the day up into two 12-hour segments. The daylight segment from 10 in the morning until 10 at night is on peak. You pay more for that period of time than you do from 10 at night until 10 the following morning. So we not only cut back on heat in rooms we didn't use, but we didn't run the washer or the dryer. I put a clock on the hot water heater so it didn't come on during those high energy hours. But when the rate is cheapest, from 10 o'clock at night to 10 o'clock in the morning, when I first signed up and started the program, it was only $0.015 per kilowatt hour. And I just realized now that during the past 13 months, that has been the area where VEPCO has had the largest rate increase.
VEPCO says that's true, but that he should look at the overall rate for time of use, a complicated computation of the on-peak and off-peak rates plus a demand charge. The overall rate has increased about as much as regular VEPCO rates. And, like the majority of time-of-use customers, overall, Bill Chapin has saved money. But
we've decided that the way the thing stands right now, with the new rates we have to pay, that saving 77 cents a day, 5 days a week, isn't worth it.
Mrs. Chapin isn't excited about the program either.
To me, it's like a cartoon. I see this housewife sitting around all day, and then at 10 o'clock, lurch. Pushing all the buttons. The oven cleaner goes on, the dishwasher goes on, the laundry goes on, the dryer goes on, and all of a sudden this nice, quiet household becomes active at 10 o'clock at night.
VEPCO says time of use shouldn't require all that.
That's one of the things that time of usage is unfortunately suffering from, Jane, is the belief that I have to either, number one, completely change my lifestyle, or I have to wait till the middle of the night to do something. Really, the whole key to time of usage is keeping in mind that not to pile on top of one another the simultaneous use of major electric appliances.
For VEPCO, time of usage billing may be the key to future energy management.
We think that time of usage does have a place in the future.
Data from the experiment are being studied now to see if billing most people according to when they use electricity would lower rates and encourage conservation.
The concept does have, we think, practical applicability. Now, whether it will have practical applicability to each and every one of our million electric customers remains to be seen.
It may be practical, but it sure is confusing. And that's why, in spite of saving so much money, Bill Chapin sums up the program this way.
I feel time of use was a glorious experiment that was doomed to failure.
What would you do with a dying city, with an area full of old, vacant buildings, with factories idled by businesses' flight to the suburbs? Mark Kraft refocuses on one Tidewater city that's using the enthusiasm of its people to rebuild downtown, to create a new Newport News.
For visitors and new residents to Tidewater, a frequently consulted book is The Insider's Guide. It offers a brief synopsis of where to go and what to do in each of the cities, and it also tells you what you'll find. Of downtown Newport News, it says, at present the downtown area, except for the shipyard, suffers. There are miles of decaying urban areas and public housing that all require extensive redevelopment. Community leaders admit they have a problem, and they point to this former Sears store, which boarded up its doors in the early 70s, as the beginning of many of the downtown's problems. Attorney Billy Milner heads a nonprofit citizens group that's trying to pulse some business back into the downtown. He recalls its demise.
It had been hoped that with the redevelopment project in the late 60s and early 70s and the moving of City Hall downtown and the erection of the several new buildings, that downtown Newport News would be stabilized. However, into the 70s, particularly with the moving of Sears Roebuck, it caused the demise of a substantial number of the retail businesses, and this created many empty spaces on downtown, which created just an unwholesome situation, an unpleasant place really to live or to work.
We showed you those pictures of the downtown because hopefully in the next few years they'll no longer be an accurate reflection of the way things are here. Consider this drugstore. When the downtown was thriving about 10 years ago, it was a drugstore then. But with the flight of most of the businesses here to the city's north end, the store was closed. And until today, the building's been vacant for about 8 years. So what causes a business to return to the same location that its predecessor has given up on nearly a decade ago? City officials call it incentive. Along a quiet stretch of the 3200 block of Washington Avenue stands the former Leggett's department store. But in sharp contrast to the Sears building, it's whirring with life. It was incentive that lured Martin David to move his baseball cap manufacturing firm from Kansas City to downtown Newport News. Through the Business Loan Incentive Program, or BLIP, set up by Pulse and the Newport News Redevelopment and Housing Authority, David was given a loan of $116,000 at the unheard-of interest rate of 4%. The money enabled him to renovate the building and expand his business, which produces about 400 caps a day. But more important, 40 Newport News residents have jobs because of David's move to the city. David says he wouldn't be in business or in Newport News were it not for the loan incentive program. Here's how the phenomenal interest rates are achieved.
The authority invests its community development dollars within a bank and borrows money and then in turn loans it to business establishments at a lower interest rate. And the city funds interest we receive, we are able to write down the loans.
With an initial investment of $330,000, the authority has been able to write down the interest rates on business loans totaling more than $800,000. The centerpiece of the program's success stands behind the walls of what used to be the W.T. Grant store. It's now the distribution center for the 24 regional LeVogue stores owned by Newport News businessman Walter Segeloff. The garments, which end up being sold in stores from Richmond to Columbia, South Carolina, begin their journey here. Segeloff's success story is much the same as Marvin David's. He needed to expand but couldn't find the facilities at a price he could afford. Along came the loan incentive program and an interest rate of 3.5% on a loan of $650,000.
We would not be located in downtown Newport News at this time. We wouldn't have gone ahead with our project of remodeling this building for LeVogue's distribution center without the business incentive program.
When Segeloff's expansion is complete, his 60-employee payroll will have grown to more than 100 workers. Many businesses who don't need the incentive program are feeling its fallout. Located in a former grocery warehouse in this stretch of vacant buildings on 23rd Street is the last thing you'd expect to find in downtown Newport News. Started in his garage more than 3 years ago, Doug Hines has built timber toys up to the point where he's supplying major national retailers. Hines was approached by Pulse and the Redevelopment and Housing Authority about the business loan incentive program, but he found the site they recommended to be so affordable, he went ahead and purchased and renovated the building himself. Now he's looking at the incentive program for expansion, which will include new machinery and the renovation of the building's second story. These are but a few of the success stories brought about by a group of concerned citizens who didn't like what was happening to their communities downtown. There's still a long way to go because there must be hundreds of these vacant storefronts lining the downtown streets. And planners are concerned about the current loan market, what with the prime rate percentage reaching the upper teens and maybe even the low 20s. But one thing is certain, the incentive program is only the overture of what promises to be a show of shows for downtown Newport News.
I think with the interstate coming soon and with the interest that we have now, I think give us a little time and we're going to put Newport News downtown back on the map.
Summertime is also the time for mosquitoes, flies, gnats, bees. And whenever biting insects strike, don't scratch, use Afterbite. And even if you use an insect repellent, chances are you'll still end up with itching, stinging bites. Well now, thanks to fast-acting Afterbite, you can get soothing relief from irritating insect bites and the painful... Summertime is also the time for mosquitoes, flies, gnats, bees. And whenever biting insects strike, don't scratch, use Afterbite. And even if you use an insect repellent, chances are you'll still end up with itching, stinging bites. Well now, thanks to fast-acting Afterbite, you can get soothing relief from irritating insect bites and the painful sting of bees, wasps, and hornets in just minutes. All you do is rub Afterbite over and into the irritated area. Instantly, Afterbite's exclusive formula goes to work, quickly stops the itching, and reduces swelling. And now, Afterbite is also available in handy individual disposable...
In America, abandoned cars litter the land. But the people in Lexington, Kentucky are removing 100 of them a month. We discard millions of used tires. But in New Jersey, they're turning old tires into playgrounds for children. Our streets and countryside have become dumping grounds for trash. But all across America, people are now recycling 8 million tons of it a year. We create staggering amounts of garbage. But in Virginia Beach, they turn a mountain of garbage into a recreational hillside. Pollution is destroying our beachfronts and waterways. But in Huntington, Long Island, they're planting seagrass, which cleanses the water for wildlife and man. The cure for pollution is people working together. For a brochure on what you can do, write, Keep America Beautiful.
13 WVEC Television.